Let's talk about denial so we can better understand the mechanism and become aware of how denial further deludes us. So denial is really a protective mechanism, you could say, for the mind. And it's really when the mind believes something, it's like it creates a whole fantasy, right? It dreams up a whole fantasy world. And really what denial does is anytime the truth kind of enters the room, any truth we're talking about, just on the relative level, we're not talking about the ultimate truth, any truth. But anytime the truth comes close, then we need to basically deny the truth. Why? We deny the truth to preserve the fantasy, the dream. But the dream, the fantasy, is an illusion. It's an illusion. It's false. It's fake, right? Because if it's not the truth, then it's got to be false. And really the false is unreal, right? It's fake. If something's fake, it's not real, right? If it's false, it's not real. The truth is real. So when the truth comes around, we have to deny the truth. We have to bury our head in the sand, right? We have to kind of, I can't hear you, right? Plug our ears and make noises so that we can't hear the truth, because we don't want to accept the truth. Because if we accept the truth, well, then this illusion just starts crumbling. So that's the thing, is when the truth comes around, it's only the lies that are threatened. The truth can never be threatened. What can threaten the truth? The truth is real. How can something that's unreal threaten the truth? So what we do, this is on any level, relative level, obviously we're talking about here, from the perspective of the separate self, is we have this, make it kind of a little bit more practical so you can see. If we have this self-image, if I have this self-image and this is what my life should be and looks like, and this is my whole dream. Here's me, this character in this fantasy land, this fantasy world that I've created all in my mind because I'm stuck in my mind and I'm dreaming it all. Then I'm deluded because it's not real. It's all a dream in my mind. I'm living in my mind and I'm creating this whole fantasy, this dream. It's all imagination. It's not real, right? And what you'll see, if you become aware of it, is that when the truth kind of comes around, that we'll deny it. We'll deny it. And we'll start feeling like it's threatening us. We'll actually start feeling hurt. Because it's the hurt that we're feeling. We're feeling the hurt of holding on to this illusion that it's not real. We're suffering from the illusion. And the more we hold on to the illusion, the more we suffer. And when the truth kind of comes, it's like we don't want to deal with that. We'd rather stay hurt than accept the truth, right? Because that's where kind of the saying comes from, like the truth hurts. It only hurts the lies. It hurts the lies because it destroys the lies. That's what the truth does. The truth is the destroyer of all illusions, right? But on any level, obviously right now we're talking about relative level of truth. So if I have this self-image of being a a Hallmark mother, right? The Hallmark Channel. The Hallmark Channel, I'm watching all these mothers and I have this idea of what the mother should look like. Here's the pinnacle of mothers and I'm trying to emulate it. I'm being programmed by the Hallmark Channel of what a great mother should look like, right? A great father should look like, right? Let's make it both. I'm trying to create a profile here, but a great mother or father should look like. Then that's my idea, and that's my self-image. It's like I'm seeing myself as that character. I've been programmed to believe that that's what it should be, right? That's what a great mother or father should be. And I'm striving to basically emulate that, right? I'm conditioned to believe that that's what it needs to be. Actually, that's what I need to be, right? And in the shows or the movies on this channel is, these mother and fathers, I don't see them really yelling at their kids. They're not yelling at their kids. They're not frustrated. It's kind of like picture perfect, right? It's like the dream family, right? But that's what we're being shown as an image. That's what we're being shown. We're not showing frustrated parents and moms and dads and, kids getting on their nerves and impatient parent, all this stuff, right? We kind of see it and we go, right? And as you become more aware, you go, as if that's not reality. That's false. But if we believe that to be reality, then we believe that that's the truth. And that's what we believe ourselves. We're identifying as that role, that character, as a mother or father in that Hallmark movie. And we're seeing ourselves as that. And we're seeing like, that's my life. My life looks like that. And I delude myself to thinking that that's my life. It's like I become so immersed in that then I think that that's just my life. And it's like, I want to live like that, right? This is the conditioning, right? It's the programming, right? It's on the Hallmark Channel, right? It's the program is this, all these movies that are all the same, right? You've maybe seen it, right? So anyways, that's what I'm being kind of fed. And I believe myself to be that. So I become super identified with that character, how it looks, how he or she should look, how he or she should behave. And I'm striving to be like that. And I totally just create this identity based off of that, based off of the role and the behaviors and all the actions and everything that basically those characters are representing. That's what I want to be, right? So there's no frustration, there's no anger, there's no yelling, there's no whatever it is, right? There's none of that. And my partner then says, hey, like, stop yelling at the kids, right? And then I'm not yelling at the kids. What are you talking? I'm not yelling, right? It's this denying, right? If my partner continues to tell me that I'm yelling at the kids and I continue to deny it, do you see how it's a protective mechanism? It's a protective mechanism because it doesn't want to accept that truth, because then this whole dream of being the perfect mother or father just kind of starts crumbling, because that's not being shown. The angry mom or dad, the screaming parent, the frustrated parent, the parent that's losing their temper, losing their cool, losing their patience, that's not being projected in the movies on this channel, right? And when I become so identified as a good mother, a good father, that's how I see my self-image. That's how I see myself to be. So then this truth of the spouse saying, hey, no, but you are yelling at the kids. Like, every time I'm just hearing it, right? So it's the denial. It's the denial, which is the rejection of the truth to preserve the illusion. Because it's a protective mechanism, because at the stage of the ego, possibly for this example that we're creating, it's just too immature to handle that. Oh yeah, this is a dream, and I'm not. I don't want to say measuring up, but it's like I'm not actually what I believe I am, right? I'm trying to be the picture perfect, the hallmark mother or father, so that when my spouse says, no, but you're actually yelling at our kids, right? Well, that's a conflict. That's going to conflict with my perceived reality. It's not the actual reality though, right? The reality is I'm yelling at the kids and my partner's saying, you're yelling at the kids, right? That's the actual reality, right? On a relative level, we're talking. That's the actual reality. So then I have to then, kind of not hear, not listen, bury my head in the sand, reject, go away, right? To play the victim, to basically to not take the responsibility in changing the behavior, letting go of this, and looking at the mirror. Again, I mentioned this in a lot of videos. It's like we're afraid to look in the mirror. The ego does not want to see itself because, like I said in other videos, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist, but it doesn't want to look, because if you look, you won't find anything. So when someone kind of holds the mirror to you, right, whatever it might be, trying to make it kind of relatable to parents here, but could be anything. Drinking, hey, you're going to drink yourself to your death. There's better ways to die than smoking, right? If you want to die, at least do it quick. Don't do it so slow with smoking. I mean, they write the warnings right on the package saying that this product is going to make you die, and you continue, right? So we don't want to hear the truth. We don't want to hear the truth. But how you catch it, because this is where it's hard, because we're stuck in our own delusion, right? It's really hard to see it when you're rejecting it, because it's a protective mechanism to preserve the ego, right? And that's what makes this kind of very difficult, deconstructing your ego, deconstructing yourself, because the ego is, in truth, it doesn't exist. It's an illusion. But you can say from the relative level, it's a survival mechanism. So it's going to do anything to survive, right? It's going to do anything to preserve its sense of self. So the sense of self is, I'm a hallmark mother or father, right? And this now, bang partner, kind of, hey, you know what? I've had enough of this. It's been a whole month and I just keep on hearing you're just losing your cool with the kids, and they don't need to be yelled at every morning and night or whatever it is, right? So it's a protective mechanism, because it's a survival mechanism, right? That is felt as a threat to the survival of the illusion, which is the whole thing. It comes as a package. The character, the story, the role, the identity, the dreamland, right? It's all big. It's all a big package, right? So what it does is it basically denies it. It denies it. But how you can catch it, how you can become more aware, is start catching when you start justifying. You're deluding yourself when you start justifying. That's number one. Justification for the habits that you're doing, right? In this case, it might be, again, denial. I'm not yelling at the kids, and then this person's so angry. I'm just raising my voice, right? It's like, but someone in the house is clearly calling you out on yelling. What do they have to benefit by telling you that you're yelling at their kids as well? There's no benefit, right? There's no benefit to them. There's only a benefit to telling you, so that the kids don't need to be, they're not living in a house where one parent is yelling at them every morning and every night, right? There's no benefit to this other partner saying that you're, that you're yelling, right? They're telling you that to bring awareness so that you can change the behavior, that you can change the pattern. But again, it's a protective mechanism because it doesn't want to see that pattern, because that seeing that, oh, I'm yelling, well, that now conflicts everything. It starts conflicting the entire dream. Because those parents on the Hallmark Channel, they don't yell. They're not frustrated. Everything is just, peachy in the movie. It's the picture perfect family, and, whatever it is. They're all dressed in plaid, and it's usually around a holiday. You obviously seen the movies that I'm talking about, right? So that's what's being threatened, is that whole dreamland. And the character comes with the dream. The character is in that dream, right? So it's one of those things. Catch the justification. If someone is mentioning something, catch the justification. Why do you need to justify? Because the truth doesn't need to be justified. It's only a lie that needs to be justified, right? Because the lie really doesn't exist. Again, it's trying to preserve itself. The justification is the preservation of the lie. That's one. Number two, we could say, is the lies are either, you can say they're stories, or you can say they come with a story, whatever you like. Really, lies are stories, right? Stories are lies are stories. You can say it comes with a story. So, and it's usually kind of wired with this. With the justification, you usually get a whole story behind it, right? You get a story of what happened, all this stuff. It's like, on one hand, it's, hey, what? You're yelling at the kids. And then now, I'm not yelling at the kids. Yes, you are. You're yelling. I can hear you from downstairs or upstairs or outside. I'm not yelling. I'm allowed to raise my voice. I'm just raising my voice. I'm allowed to raise my voice, right? No, you're not raising your voice. Like, you're yelling at them, and you can sense by their energy and their facial, expressions and tension and body language. No, you're frustrated, and you're taking it out on the kids. And then well, there's a story behind it. Then it's usually a story where there's a shift in the responsibility, which is seen as blame. Well, they're doing this and blah blah blah, no, right? It's again, it doesn't want to. The ego doesn't want to take any responsibility for anything, right? So it plays the kind of victim card here, where it's again, it shifts, it deflects, right? Well, God forbid I change my pattern, right? Well, if it's them, they got to change, right? So it does this deflection, where it basically tries to take the attention off of it and put it on something else, right? And that's where a nice little story comes in. So there's justification, there's story, there's probably some other stuff that's not coming to mind, but those are really the big ones when you see it, right? So it's one of those things where you can tell, there's something that, like, you could say, like, you don't know when you're deluding yourself, but then as soon as your awareness becomes a little bit more, right? As soon as you kind of start seeing, you can say, start waking up to some of this stuff, you kind of know when you're, BSing yourself. When when you're in denial of certain things, right? And it's one of those things where you look at, like, a lot of our culture, like, people, they think denial is like, it's like, okay, like, to just deny stuff. I don't want to accept the truth, right? I don't want to, I'm in denial. Like, I am in denial. They, like, pride themselves on it. Right? I don't want to accept the truth, right? In this case, it's like, well, you can see, we already know why not. But it's, again, what benefit do you have by preserving the lie? Because there's more suffering happening, and there's more hurting others around you when you're trying to preserve that lie, that illusion, right? By holding on to the illusion, you're going to hurt more and more, right? But from the ego's perspective, from the separate self, it feels like if I accept that truth, like, no way, I can't. Because that's kind of what the truth does, is it's going to destroy the lies. It's going to burn everything that you're not, right? So it's one of those things as you're becoming more and more aware on the journey, is that you have to start spotting some of this stuff. You spot a lot of, if you're unsure of where to look, just look at any addiction that you have. Just look at any addiction that you have, and you'll see there's always a justification. There's always a story. Always, right? And then again, being in denial of it, and we want to bury our head in the sand and blame, throw away the responsibility, to not really look. Because this is, again, it can be a very powerful entry point, because it's really looking at, it's like peeling back those layers, where then we can kind of look deep down at the core and really look, what is this suffering here? Because it's usually like these lies that we're like layering up over top of it, that we're escaping the present moment. We're escaping the present moment. We're escaping our core suffering, and we're running away from our own suffering, and we're trying to, I mean, it's all imagination, but we're trying to escape the suffering that's at our core, to then just try and what's the word here? Like, get lost in imagination, right? This whole dreamland is something that we've created to essentially escape reality. And that's the thing, is that reality, right? To really get to reality, it's the suffering. It's the suffering that you have to address. And if you don't address it, then you just escape, and you live here in illusion, and you delude yourself every day, right? So that's where that truth is really, it's very powerful. If someone kind of, mentions something, instead of, again, denying it, it could be, okay, let me reflect on this. Let me introspect. Let me just sit with this. Let me just kind of let this marinate. And that's when you're now very present. And then a lot of things are going to start surfacing that were already there. They're really not surfacing. It's just the fact that you're now not running. You're not running. And you're actually just, you're present, and you're more present to reality. So then you now have some more courage. Instead of being more of a coward and running away, you're now having the courage to just stand and face what's real, where then that is where the transformation happens. The transformation doesn't happen in a dream. The transformation happens in reality, right? It's truth. It's love, right? That's what transforms you. And the two are one, right? That's what transforms you, because that's what heals the wounds. That's what the truth is, what actually, it takes away the suffering. But from the ego's standpoint, it looks like the Grim Reaper, right? Because to the ego, it is. It is. But there's nothing lost. There's nothing destroyed other than everything that you're not. And it's when we believe ourselves to be something that we're not, that really is the suffering. So I know we kind of dance in circles, but hopefully you got something out of it. It is a very difficult subject to talk to and really, or talk about, and really kind of talk about it on the level of, the separate self, because it's again, it takes a really mature. It takes maturity to really one, still be here on the video and listen. Two, to actually listen to it. Three is to start actually reflecting, self-reflection. Because without self-reflection, you never really see yourself, and you don't really see yourself. You just see that who you think you are is not real. So hopefully this helps. I'll see you in the next one.